See who's here. Give everybody a moment to log on. All right. It looks like everybody's ready. Okay. Only one looks like we are missing would be Andre. You joining us today. Okay. So who the participants are. Okay. So as always, make sure that you log on to Aztec before you come to these. Well, 2 days from now will be the last day of class. So I want to make sure that everybody's getting in their time on Aztec. We do get reports. And I would also recommend speaking with Michael Fink and ensuring that you set up a testing date. I have a lot of students who reach out to me already and let me know that they're testing, and that's the goal. So the goal is to get everybody in there testing. And I've said this before, but yesterday the class was a little smaller. We want to make sure that if possible, that you're not taking the practice test, that you're going directly for the actual high set test. Again, if you're having trouble financially, then it's worth it. If you need a confidence boost, then it's worth it. Yes, Aztec should still work even when you're done with the class. So you should still have Aztec. We, as the state is concerned, as far as the state is concerned, we actually own you until you pretty much you pass the high school equivalency. So we give you all those resources for as long as possible. If there is a cutoff date, I would say it would be like a month after class, but Michael Fink would be a better point of contact. But I know that you do have it even after the class ends. So I would definitely recommend using that. And remember that 40% is the passing score. I know that we work directly with the high set program, but again, that's not the only way you can get your high school equivalency. So if you need to go out and take the GED, if you need to go out and do the Task C, Michael can help you with that. I can help you out with that because I know that maybe they may have more options, hours, or you prefer to do it just online or whatever. So there's some benefits to that. Okay. And then also again on Thursday, we're going to be going over all of the data. We're going to be looking at the numbers and really getting deep into the test. And that's what the whole class is going to be. We're going to pick up on quadratic equations today. If we smoke that, then we'll move on to inequalities. because after the functions practice test, those are the two areas that I noticed we needed the most amount of help on. Any questions before we get started? Questions, questions, questions? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and call the conference line. We did have a lot of questions on this when we were doing the practice test. So I want everybody to call in so that we can address questions directly and you can talk me through solving some of the problems because I know that's helped out several of you. So if you don't know the conference call number, I'm going to send it in the live chat. I'm about to call here in a moment. Okay. So I've joined. Please join the conference call. All right. Who just joined us?
Good morning, this is Mariana.
All right, Mariana. Okay, so waiting on Diane, Alma, and Vishna. Sam.
Yes.
All right, and who just joined
Good
us?
morning, this is Yasna.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have Mariana, we have Vishna. So we just need Diane and Alma, so we can get started.
Hi. Hi, good morning. I am on the conference call. My name is Alma.
Oh, okay, Alma, okay. Estás aquí. Okay, muy bien. So then we're waiting on Diane then. Diane, are you on the conference call? I'll send a message. And please join the conference call. Okay. All right. So we're going to be talking about quadratic equations. Now, there's going to be a lot of questions about this because there's several math standards you have to know before we get into quadratic equations. That's why I want to use a conference call. So if at any time you don't understand something, please let me know. I'm going to assume that we know everything and I'm going to go through it. Who just joined us?
Hello? Diane?
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay. So, quadratic equations, all right, they're going to contain a squared variable, right? So, this is an example right here of a quadratic equation. X squared minus 3x equals 4. Okay. The most common way that you're going to solve this is by factoring, which is breaking this down into the pieces that when we multiply together will give us that. All right. Factoring, another way you might hear it is another term for it could be decomposing, right? Like, when a body decomposes or anything decomposes, it breaks down to what it, like the most basic part of it, right? Well, that's what we're doing here. We're going to break all of this down into what we combine together to get this quadratic equation. Question so far?
No question. No question.
Okay.
No questions.
All right. Perfect. And then we'll talk about some of the games that you can do where it's like, okay, what number can I multiply together to get 3, but when I add them together, I get 4, things like that. Okay. So look, we're going to start off with a basic example of how we factor. So that was a quadratic equation. So let's look at factoring. Okay. So we're going to have 15x squared plus 9x. Okay. So you're going to look for a term that divides evenly into 15 and 9. So you know that because it has that relationship, like can you multiply these together and get this number, but when you add them together, get this number, you know they're going to be nice, easy numbers to work with. I sent out the rules for dividing and multiplying earlier within the class, earlier in the term. I can send that out again if you guys want it, but they're always going to be easy numbers to work with. So you're not going to get like 27 and like 5 or something like that. Normally, they're going to be numbers that respect that relationship, right? So if we're looking at both 15 and 9, right? A term that divides evenly into both. Both terms can be divided by 3, right? And that should, to most of you, that's probably obvious, right? 9 can be divided by 3, 15 can be divided by 3. Again, if there's any questions about that, I did send out a good form that makes this easy to understand. The rules of division and multiplying. Any questions so far?
No. No question.
Okay. So since both terms can be divided by 3x, we need to factor out 3x, right? We need to write the terms as factors. So what we're doing is we're going to break it down so that we can show that we can work backwards to get this, right? So that's the next step. Question so far?
No question.
Okay. So all we're going to do now is divide each one by 3x. So we're going to have 15x squared divided by 3x. And what's that going to give me?
5x.
Correct. That's going to give me 5x. Anyone have a question there so far?
No. No question. No question.
Okay. So we'll do the same thing with 9x. 9x divided by 3x. And what's that going to give me?
3.
Okay. So now we need to look at how to factor. Okay. So, and this is going to be, again, one of the few times I'm going to tell you to just pretty much memorize the steps. And this is going to be easier for you when you take the actual test because it's all multiple choice. You could actually literally work it out. It's just time consuming. Okay, Andre's here. All right. Okay. So what we have now that we've broken everything out, we have that 15x squared plus 9x equals 3x times 5x plus 3. Right? So we know this whole thing could be divided by 3x. So we know that's going to be on the outside. Right? We know that 15x divided by 3x gave us 5x. 9x divided by 3x gave us 3. Does this make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what you can do is check it. Now, if you get a question and it's multiple choice, you can work it out and see if the answer will work. The bad thing is the test is designed in such a way where if you did that for every single problem, you're probably going to run out of time. So, what I would recommend to do is to get comfortable understanding what numbers are divisible by what and being able to make a good estimate. So, if you have 4 or 5 options and you're like, man, I don't know what this broken down into factors is going to be, look at those rules. And if that doesn't work, look at the ones you know are probably not going to be the answer just because when you multiply them together, you're not going to get either one of those values. If you do that, then you can spend your time working on 2 problems that you know could probably be right. And then at that point, you're not eating up all of your time working on one of these problems. So let's go ahead and check this because we're saying that 15x squared plus 9x, when we factor it out, it's 3x times 5x plus 3. Anybody on the conference call think they could walk us through this? Or want to give it a shot? Because you will have to do this on your own. Anybody want to give it a shot? Walk us through how we would multiply this out. How we would factor it.
We're gonna multiply 3x with 5x.
Okay, and what's that going to give us?
We got 15x squared.
Okay.
And the other one is 3x with 3, so we got 9x. So the answer is 15x squared plus 9x.
Perfect. And if you're wondering what that process is, just remember FOIL. Probably remember this from high school. First, right? Out, inner, and then last. Actually, there should be an end there. Okay, so we will start off with the first number in the parentheses, right? Then the second number out, and then in, and then last. Right. Questions so far?
No question. No question.
Okay.
No question.
Let's see how comfortable we are. So now that you know how to factor, I'm going to throw in a little bit of a curveball. So this is what the problem was when it was decomposed, when it was factored out. So I want you to multiply this out, 2x plus 3 times x minus 4, and tell me what the original quadratic equation was. Now I'm going to start the timer. As soon as you're done, don't tell me the answer, but as soon as you're done, let me know so we can see how long we're taking to do this, because you're going to get a lot of problems just like this one. All right, time starts now.
So first we multiply 2x.
Oh, it's okay. Do it on your own. When you're done, let me know. I'm going to tell you how long you took on it.
I'm done.
Nice, 19 seconds.
Okay. I'm done.
44 seconds.
I'm done.
1 minute, and actually just pretty much 1 minute flat. Anybody else still working?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And Andre should be joining us. All right. So everyone completed this way under 2 minutes, which is good. So when you get these, then you know you're not going to be using your hour and a half. You're not going to be using 5-10 minutes to work this out. Okay. So somebody besides Vishna, walk us through how to do this. Could be Alma, could be Diane, could be Mariana.
Okay, I will do it.
Okay, go ahead.
First, I multiply 2x squared.
2x. Okay, so we're going to multiply 2x and what?
2x for x.
Okay, so then 2x times x, what does that give me?
2x.
And if you need to say it in Spanish, that's fine. Because on the test, you're not going to have to walk through it. But at least then I know you know how to do it. I can translate it.
2x.
Okay, so you're going to do 2x times x, which is going to give you 2x squared. Okay, muy bien. El próximo paso.
Después multipliqué 2x por menos 4 y me dio menos 8x.
Okay, so she said the next step, she said I multiplied 2x times x. That gave me 2x squared. Then I went and did 2x times negative 4. And that gave me negative 8x. Okay, el siguiente.
El siguiente multipliqué 3 por x. Me dio 3x.
Okay, so now I'm going to do 3 times x. So 3 times x, 3x. ¿Está bien?
Y por último multipliqué 3 por menos 4 y me dio menos 12.
Okay. So then I did 3 times negative 4. Also, notice that when I'm writing these down, how I'm always going from top to bottom and I'm drawing out the lines. This is helpful. I mean, everybody completed this pretty fast, but if you got confused on anything, if this is not where you were working towards, I always do it like in a pyramid style. So I'm going to work all the way from the top to the bottom, and it makes it easier to follow what we're doing because we have to combine all of these here in a moment. Yeah. So that's going to give you negative 12. Okay. So somebody else tell us. Thank you. That Mariana that was walked us through it. Okay. Muchas gracias. So someone else now walk us through how we're going to combine these. This could be anybody. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, it looks like Andre already kind of started working that out. Who can walk us through? We got to combine all of these, right? This was not the original quadratic equation. Go ahead.
So we can combine negative x and 3x to get negative 5x.
Good. So negative 8x plus 3x. So we're going to add these. And what is that going to give me?
Negative 5x.
Negative 5x. Okay, so we got rid of those. Now what?
So the answer is, yes, that is negative 5x.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is 2x squared minus 5x minus 12.
Whoa, how come you don't put the 2x squared at the end? Why are we putting it in the front?
Because they have what they call exponent.
Correct.
Square. Yes.
The highest exponent always goes first.
Yes.
Any
Then
questions
5x
about
minus
that?
12.
What's that? No, that was very good, Sam. Are you testing once this class is done?
Math.
Yeah. Are you testing overall?
I pass my math right now.
Okay. So you're gonna take the reading.
Yes, I need reading.
Okay. Are you gonna take the test after this class?
I want to, but they email me that I have to take the test online. So I don't know if they open the
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, talk to Michael because things are changing every day. The governor is allowing people to open up their businesses and allowing businesses to do a couple of different things. So I would talk to Michael because it could be the case that you could test this week.
Because I don't feel I can take a test at home. I have a little kid at home.
Oh, I agree. Like I definitely understand it. And you want to be in whatever environment you think is best. So if you feel better in the testing facility, if you feel better at Sahara West, yeah, you should definitely do that. Especially too, because I know that with everybody being home right now, the internet is really slow, and you don't want to have that come up, and then you have to take it again, or they accuse you of cheating or whatever. So, okay, very nice. So there's no questions on this so far.
No question. No question so far.
Okay.
No question.
All right. So we're gonna do another example. Okay. So we talked about factoring the expression. We talked about when we actually had the factors, how to get back to the quadratic equation. Now we're going to talk about how to solve it so that you can get down to what the two answers could be for the quadratic equation. Okay. So let's take an example such as x squared minus 3x equals 4. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the equation to equal 0 by subtracting 4 from both sides. Does this sound familiar? Uh-oh. Does this sound familiar? We're subtracting by 4 so that the whole equation will equal to 0. Because now that we subtracted 4 from here, we got to subtract 4 from there. So this is going to be x squared minus 3x minus 4. Equals what? Equals 0. Does this start to sound a little familiar? Yeah. It's almost like the same thing we're doing when we're trying to solve for the variable, right? So what we did now is we set this whole equation up to equal 0 by just subtracting what it already equaled. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So factor by trial and error, okay? So this is what that means. Pretty much we're playing with it, okay? So what factors of the last term, right? So we need to come here and figure out what is going to give me negative 4 when added. Okay, so the last term, negative 4. So we need to look at what two numbers, when I multiply them, are going to give me negative 4, but when I add them, are going to give me negative 3. And I'm pretty sure you know what that is. So let's set that up. What two numbers?
4 and 1.
4 and what?
Yes. So you said multiply 4.
Yes.
1.
And what kind of 4 is it? What kind of 4?
4 minus 1.
Yes, it's a negative 4. Right? So if we're going to break this down into pieces, we know it's going to be 4 and 1, right? So that's going to end up being x, right? We're going to split these apart. All of this is going to give me 0. Now, we know that positive 1 times negative 4 gives me negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1 gives me negative 3. So then this is my answer. So notice that relationship there. When you see a simple quadratic equation like this, which to the power of 2, you have to look at what two numbers can I multiply together to get this term, but when added will give me that term. Multiplied together will give me this, added will give me that. Questions so far?
No question. No question.
Okay. Okay. So the next step is going to be to set both of these equal to 0, right? We're staying with the 0. The 0 here helped us break this down. Now the next step is going to be to take both of these now and have them equal 0. So it's going to be x plus 1 equals 0. Well, when we work that out, let's see. We're trying to find out what x equals. So what would we do here to figure out what x equals? Basic algebra. What do we do here? We're trying to find out what x equals.
Subtract 1 from both sides.
So x equals what?
Negative 1.
Okay. So we got to do the same thing with the x over here. What's that going to give me? I'm not even going to set it up. Make sure people are actually listening and participating. No podcast today. I find out that x plus 1 equals 0. And when I solve that, it gave me negative 1. Let's do the same thing with x minus 4. What's it going to give me?
X equals 4.
Yes. Oh, okay, I could tell you passed. You may not even be allowed to answer anymore. All right. Does anybody understand? Anybody not understand? I'm sorry. How we got x equals negative 1 and x equals 4?
Yes, we go.
Okay. So we feel comfortable. All right. So let's see how quickly we can work these out. So I'm going to put up a sample problem before we go to the quizzes. Not quizzes, sorry. Before we go to class kick. And I'm going to set the timer for this as well. Because again, this is something that we're going to be getting on the test. X plus 4 and then x plus 2. So I would like you to solve this. All right, time starts now. When you're done, don't tell me the answer. Just let me know you're done so we can see how fast we're working.
I'm done.
Nice. Who was that?
Yes, ma'am.
Nice. 22 seconds.
I'm done.
32 seconds.
I'm done.
That was 43 seconds.
Alma.
Very nice. Anybody else still working? Anybody still working?
No.
Okay.
I think everyone's done.
Everyone's done. Okay. So, was it Alma? What is the solution? What is the answer?
I got x cuadrado
Uh-huh.
menos 2x plus 8.
Plus 2x plus 8.
No. X cuadrado menos 2x más 8.
Okay. X cuadrado. ¿Y qué más? Perdón. X cuadrado.
2x menos 2x
Ajá.
más 8. X cuadrado más 2 menos 2x más 8.
Cuadrado. ¿Así?
Sí. Sí, ese es mi resultado.
Okay. So this is what we believe the answer to be. And if you disagree, I want you to walk me through how to solve it.
I disagree. That's not.
Okay, what about Mariana or Diane?
I disagree.
Diane? Who was the last person to say they disagreed?
Mariana.
Okay. So Mariana, walk us through since you disagree. How do we solve this?
Because it's x squared.
Okay. So how did you solve it? ¿Cómo llegaste a los resultados? ¿Qué hiciste?
Okay, multiply x por x.
Okay, so she said first thing I did was do x times x.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
X por x me dio x cuadrado.
Which is going to give me x squared. Uh-huh.
Y después x por 2. Después multipliqué 4 por x.
Okay, so then that's 2x. Y después 4 por x.
Ajá. Y finalmente 4 por 2. Entonces, al final obtuve x cuadrada más 6x más 8.
Okay, entonces, ¿eso es la respuesta?
Y x más 4 igual a 0, donde x es igual a menos 4, que fue
Okay. So,
Perdón, ya me confundí.
all right. No, está bien. Por eso que lo hacemos juntos. Okay. So far, this is great. We use a FOIL method and we got here, right? But is this the answer? Yeah, I'm sure everybody understands how we got here. Does anybody not understand how we arrived at x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8? Anybody not understand? No? No questions? No questions?
No question.
Okay. But this is not the answer. So what am I going to do from here? What's the next step?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. What are the like terms?
2x and 4x.
What's that going to give me?
6x.
Anything else that I can combine?
No.
So we're going to have x squared plus 6x plus 8.
8.
And let's see, does that follow the same rule? So when I multiply 4 and 2 together, what am I going to get?
8. 6.
When I add them together, what am I going to get?
6.
Okay. So I'm going to put up one more. And then once we're done with the class, I'm just going to give you a link to ClassKick for you guys to work on the problems. And I'll give you feedback and help. Okay. So we're not going to do anything more complicated than this one. We just did number 1. Now we're going to do number 2.
I have a question.
Yes.
For this one is only plus and multiply when we want to know what the x is.
Well, here we're not necessarily solving for x. What we're doing is figuring out what the original quadratic equation was.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but like this one, when we want to know like x squared plus 6x plus 8. So when we want to, I don't know how to say it, like we calculate for the x, we choose like x plus 2 in the parentheses and x plus 4 in the parentheses. It means if we add 2 and 4, we got 8. And if we minus, when we plus 4 and 2, we got 6. So it's only add and multiplication.
Yeah. So you could literally skip all of the steps of factoring. And when you look at that problem, right? So when we look at x plus 4, this is how we can get a lot faster. So you look at x plus 4, x plus 2, you could just say, okay, well, 4 to 2 is 8. So no, that's going to be there. 4 plus 2 is 6. So I know there's going to be an x there. X times x is x squared.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay.
Now, obviously, we know.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Obviously, we know that only works when it's like this, right? When we only have x by itself and the other number is just one single number, right? Now, when it becomes double digits or when we start getting 2x's and 5x's and 5x squared, then you do have to work it out, right? You do have to multiply everything out the way you normally would. Good. All right. So with that being said, the timer, solve this problem.
I'm done.
Nice.
I'm done.
Nice. That is 15 seconds each.
I'm done.
Good. 24 seconds. Okay. Anybody else still working?
No.
Okay. So everybody now is done in less than a minute. And I hope again, this is building your confidence for those of you that have not taken the math test. Oh, this is building your confidence that an hour and a half is plenty when you know what you're doing, right? This question, you should be able to, if you're taking an average of 15 seconds, you should be able to knock out uh, at least 4 questions in a minute, right? Okay. So who can walk us through how to solve this? You know, I don't think I actually heard from Diane. Diane, are you on the line? Ms. Hernandez? What about Alma? Is Alma still on the line?
Yes.
Okay. Could you walk us through
Oh.
this?
First, I multiply x by x
Uh huh.
equal x squared,
Uh huh.
and then x by 5, it's equal 5x, then minus 3 by x equals minus 3x, then minus 3 by 5 equals minus 15. Then answer is equal x squared minus 2x minus 15.
Minus 2x?
Yes.
5x plus negative 3x. What's that going to give me? If we combine these two, right? A negative and a positive. So positive 5x and negative 3x. What's that going to give me?
Yes. Minus 2x.
So 5x and negative 3x is actually going to just give us positive 2x.
Oh, yes, yes. Sorry.
No, it's okay, está bien. Pero eso que nos ponemos a revisar todo en esta manera para ver si tenemos un error en cualquier número o si algo que calculamos mal. Pero está bien. All right. So what's the next step?
Combine.
Yeah. So what do we have to bring anything else down? Is there anything else we have to do?
Minus 15.
Yep.
Negative.
Yep. And that's it. You're right. Questions so far?
No question.
Okay. So I think we have enough time. I can give you 2 more examples, and I'm just going to give you the code for class kick, and you guys can work in there. Okay. So let's look at 3x plus 8 times x plus 2. I'm going to reset the timer. I would like you to solve this. Time starts now.
I'm done.
Ooh,
I'm done.
ooh, less than a minute, 30 seconds. Very nice.
I'm done.
Nice. That was barely over a minute. Anybody else still working? I think was it somebody left. Not sure who.
No.
Okay, so let's go ahead and that's everyone was done in less than a minute and 30 seconds. Who can tell us how to solve this?
Okay, I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So first 3x multiplied by x, we got 3x squared.
Okay.
And 3x multiplied by 2, we got 6x.
Okay.
Next, 8 multiplied by x, we got 8x.
Okay.
And last one, 8 multiplied by 2, we got 16.
Okay.
Yeah, after that, we combine like terms. 6x with 8x, we got 14x.
Okay.
So the answer 3x squared plus 14x plus 16.
Questions about that? Questions. Okay. So now we're going to work backwards. I'm going to put a problem up. The first one's going to be a friendly one, just to see if we can knock it out. I don't think this one's going to take us too long. And the next one's not going to be so friendly. Okay. So break this down. Factor this out. X squared plus 4x plus 3. Time starts now.
I'm done, but I don't know right or wrong.
It's all right. 24 seconds.
I'm done.
Nice. 27 seconds. Not even half a minute. Nice. Remember the trick we talked about.
I'm done.
Everybody was underneath a minute. Okay. So if we factor this out, what does it equal?
X plus 3 multiplied with x plus 1.
Questions about that?
No question.
Pretty simple. Yeah. All right. You guys smoked that. That was friendly. Okay. Now we're going to get crazy. So factor that out. The time is going.
Oh, this one. I think I'm done.
Nice. 1 minute, 50 seconds.
I'm confused with this one. I can't.
Okay. Anybody else need more time?
I'm confused. Oh, no.
Okay. So let's go over this together. This one we knew was going to be hard, right? Oh, sorry. I don't actually, you know what? Yeah, let me erase this so I can write it up a little higher so we can solve it as a family. All right. So we have 2x squared minus 8x minus 10. So the first thing we want to do is break this out. Let's factor this out. So what number do we know can go into 2, 8, and 10? Okay, so 2. All right, there's multiple ways to solve this. So I purposely choose difficult problems so we can solve it together. Okay, so 2. So how can I get this 2 to at least break down to be that? What am I going to have to multiply 2 by to get x squared, to get 8x, to get 10?
Okay, multiply by x squared
X squared, okay.
minus 4x and minus 5.
Good. Does everybody understand how we at least got there? I'm not saying that's the answer, but does everybody understand how we got there? Not hearing anything. Does everybody understand how we got here?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now notice how in between these, like now that we took out the 2, here we have those regular equations that we're used to. Okay. So now let's break that part down, right? So we're going to have x squared plus x minus 5x minus 5. Does that make sense so far? Okay, here. Okay, I feel like I'm losing you guys. All right. So, all right. But you have to speak, because if it's quiet, I don't know if you're working or if you're confused. Okay, sounds good, Andre. Okay, so now that we're here, let's just make it super simple. We broke it down, right? Let's just say we were just looking at x squared minus 4x minus 5. How would we factor that?
So we got x plus 1 and x minus 5.
That's your answer. 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 5. The end.
So we can do that too.
Yeah, multiple ways to do it.
Okay.
You want to try another crazy one like that one before I give you guys the class kick? Huh?
Oh, class kick.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give that to you guys if you guys want more sample problems. You guys can work on those. I'll be correcting it. Let's do one more. This will be the last one because we're about 5 minutes over the class. Okay, so let's do one more. Take what I just showed you and solve this one. Remember, the first step we did was we took this middle number and we wrote it as a difference of something. Ujú.
pero tengo que salir de la clase.
No, está bien.
Muchas gracias.
Oh, de nada.
Nos vemos mañana.
Nos vemos mañana.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Would we like to solve this together?
Yes, please.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 2x out, right? Just like I did last time, squared. We need to break this out. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did last time. I'm going to set this up as a difference of two problems, right? So that is really nothing more than 6x minus x. Still going to keep the minus 3. All I did was break this down. I said, well, 5x, that's nothing more than 6x minus 1x. That's going to give me 5x. Does that make sense so far? Does that make sense so far? What I did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now I have this new equation. And I now know that I have a way to look for an even number, right? So what can go into all of these? Right? What can I work with? At least here. I know now when I look at this problem that I can take out my 2x. Right? I know I'm going to have to multiply by something to get 2x squared. So what about 6x minus 3? 6x minus x minus 3. Can I break this down into something? Right? I'm going to think of a better way to explain it. Okay. So then I have my 2x on the outside. What can I multiply my 2x by so that I can get 6x? So I can get 2x squared plus 6x. What's that? Huh?
Multiplying for 3 to get 6x.
Yeah. Now, what about getting x squared? I took out my 2x here, right? I'm working backwards, right? I'm getting everything separated. So I know if I multiply by 3, I'm going to get 6x. Okay. What about if I want to get 2x squared? What else do I need to multiply? Good. So we're right here right now. Everything else stays the same. You see how we're slowly breaking the problem out? Does that make sense so far?
Yes, but I need to complete with this.
What's that?
Okay. In the class text, you will give us examples?
Yes, I'll give you more problems. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And questions on this so far? Do we understand how we got here?
No question. No question.
Okay. See, and we had this negative x minus 3. So what we want to do is get rid of this x, right? So we can start to break everything down. So we're going to factor out the negative sign from the equation. So By factoring it, we're just going to multiply it to -3. And what's that going to give us? Remember, we're trying to break everything down. We broke down the 2x, we broke down the 5x. Now we're going over to this -3, right? We decided to break this down by making it the difference of something, by saying, okay, well, this had to come by taking +6 and subtracting it by 1, right? That helped us get here because then we could take out the 2 and say 2x times x is going to give us 2x squared. 2x times 3 is going to give us that 6x. So we finished all of that. Now we're looking at -x minus 3. We decided to multiply this out. -x times -3. That's going to give us 2x times x plus 3. And then over here, we're going to have subtracted by x plus 3. Because a -x times a negative times a negative is a positive. So now we pretty much got rid of it, right? This is where we are now. Does that make sense so far? Okay. Okay. So from here, all we have to do is factor out x plus 3 from the expression. Right? And how do we do that? By multiplying this into the problem. Does this make sense so far? If not, there's going to be more practice problems.
So this is the answer?
No, when we get down, the answer is going to be x plus 3 when we factor out the 3. It's going to be x plus 3 times 2x minus 1.
Yes. I see.
All right, so we've now gone about 15 minutes over. I'm going to send the link to ClassKick, and then as you guys work in there, I'm going to respond with some feedback. So if you want more problems, there is the link. So if you hop on in there, you're going to see more practice problems. Huh?
Would you send me by email because I can't do it right now?
Yeah, I'll send it to your email. And
thank you. I keep first.
Yeah, no worries. What's the first part of your email? Because when I start typing it in, it'll bring it up.
Okay, I try.
Let's see. Okay. Is yours the 702 email?
That's my first name. and put US in there and at yahoo.com.
All right, perfect. I'm sending you that link right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And if there are no questions, then I will see everybody tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Good. How are you? Oh, pretty good. That's actually what I was calling because I got a message, or actually, Nina and I got a message from Leslie about some documents or something that she needed. But I don't think. But I mean, I know we're not working with her, so I don't know why she's asking us for documents. It's a lot of stuff that Nina had already sent, like bank statements. She wanted us to do something else on the gift letter. But the document says that if we don't provide those in like in 5 days, that she was going to close the file. But I could have sworn we had this huge meeting with Tani where we said we wanted to use our own person. Yeah, because buying a house is stressful enough, and then having to do like two sets of documents, especially when the person doesn't even keep the original documents very well, and it's kind of all over the place. That's just an exercise in frustration. Yeah, Yeah, because I had Nina send them an email, but nobody had responded to that email yet. I did, but I'll call Donnie to let her know because I just don't want her to like close the file and then act like you know, and then yeah, I wish, man, I wish I would have just listened to my own conscience, man, and I wish I would have just said no. Honestly, man, like I'd rather just give the fucking 8,000. Honestly, it's annoying. Dude, I'm already teaching. I'm already teaching. I get other stuff from school. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just I wish that she would have been this proactive 3 4 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because like Nina's grandmother just died. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we wake up in the morning, we're getting this request, and then it's like, dude, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just stupid. So do you think because I feel like I'm pretty I don't want to say intense. I'm just wondering like how to communicate it like respectfully to Donnie, like, hey, this is I don't know, I don't understand exactly why she's emailing me, because I feel like you are usually a lot better at communicating it like in a calm manner in that sense. Yeah, should I tell Merle then that she's asking for documents as well, so that maybe he can also reach out? Yeah, because I did CC him. I just know that like sometimes people get busy with the emails and they don't always get a chance to read them. Yeah, yeah. I'll call him to let him know, and then I'll also try to reach out to Don. He might be at lunch or something.
It could be at 12 p.m. around 12:30 right now. Either way, I mean, it sounds very promising from what was gathered yesterday because I did chime into an email. Uh,
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'll let him know just in case he didn't get the email, so that way he's in the loop, and then sounds good, man. Thank you. Okay, sounds good. All right. Hello, bro. Hey, it's Darwin. Hey, not sure if you got the email that we sent out in the morning because Leslie's asking us for like, yeah, I don't know what all that is about. But yeah, because she's asking for like, I mean, a lot of it we already gave her, but she's asking for like documents again, bank statements, another thing for the gift letter. So I don't know if she's just doing that to close the file or like, I just don't want that to mess up our loan. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me either. And that because that's why I sent the email and I let them. Oh, okay. And then, do you think, based off your conversation with him, it looks pretty promising that they'll probably pick up the closing costs? engage. No, he was right. He was exactly right. Leslie didn't do anything. That was the problem. Yeah, I definitely think it is. I just want to make sure he doesn't act dumb and then be like, "Oh, we don't know about the closing costs," because that was one of the things that we wanted from him was for them to do it. Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna talk to him and then be like, because even if let's say he says no or whatever, then I would definitely take it above his head. But then I need to make sure the money is right too. So yeah, I'm thinking about saying that. It just yeah, because if he says no, I'm gonna be like, all right, I want to talk to your manager now, like because yeah, this is ridiculous. Mm. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll reach out to him. I think he should be back by like one or so, and I'm gonna be like, hey, is there anything else we need? Who's gonna make the final determination of whether or not they pick it up? Okay, sounds good. All right, you're welcome. I'm yeah, I mean, I don't know. service. Scout. I don't know it. fail. Hello? Hi, I just had a couple of questions. All right, perfect. Okay. So I got a message. Because some of this you may not need my account information for, but I got a message. Actually, it wasn't me personally, but I was calling and trying to make calls, and then my girlfriend looks up and T-Mobile because I couldn't make any phone calls and the network was being weird, and she tells me that T-Mobile and Sprint suffered like an outage or some kind of signal issue. It was weird. It wouldn't let me make phone calls, and then it kept on acting like, yeah, I was disconnected from the network. It was kind of like bouncing back and forth. Yeah, yeah, that was gonna be my next question because I'm expecting a phone call tomorrow, and I just didn't know if the outage had been completely fixed or if there's a chance that it could happen again tomorrow. Because I missed a phone call due to the outage. That was an important phone call. That's actually something I want to
That was something I was gonna check because I haven't gotten a phone call. Actually, I got a phone call from you guys because I use the automated system, but I haven't had a chance to really check the system to know if like it's up. I just get worried because it's actually it's an important personal call, so I'm like, yeah. Yeah, and then I also wanted to pay my bill too, but I guess I can go to the automated system. First name is Darwin, last name is Malta. 357 357. No, I never got anything. I only, oh yeah, from other people. I did get some really late last night, and I think they were off. And I think I got it because I heard the sound. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, because I can use a different number. I can use like my girlfriend's number if necessary. Yes. Yeah, I made a call to. I made a call. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this wasn't like an accident. This was like maintenance. Okay. And then, can I pay my bill then as well? Yes.
Correct.
Yes.